Township Council is called to order. In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act, I'm sorry, Madam Clerk, would you please read the Open Public Meeting Act?
In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act of the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of the December 11, 2018 work session regular meeting of the Franklin Township Council was provided as required by law.
Thank you. If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by an invocation by Councilman Vasanella. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As we gather here today as members of the Township Council, we pray that we are ever mindful of opportunities to render our service to fellow citizens and to our community, keeping in mind always the enduring values of life, exerting our efforts in those areas and on those things upon which future generations can build with confidence. Let us continue to strive to make a better world. Amen.
Amen. Madam Master Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Chase?
Here.
Councilwoman Francois?
Here.
Councilman Galtieri?
Here.
Mayor Kramer?
Here.
Councilman Onijaka? Councilman Prasad?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Robinson? Councilman Vasanella?
Here.
Councilman Wright?
We are now up to proclamations and commendations. We will start with the 2018 National Impaired Driving Prevention Month. Councilman Galtieri will read that.
All right. So this is a proclamation for the 2018 National Impaired Driving Prevention Month. Whereas no person should suffer the tragedy of losing someone as a result of drunk, drugged, or distracted driving, but for far too long, the danger of impaired driving has robbed people of the comfort of knowing that when they or a loved one leaves home, they will return safely. And whereas during the National Impaired Driving Prevention Month, we recommit to preventing these accidents by acting responsibly and by promoting responsible behavior in those all around us and together, we can enhance public safety and work to ensure a happy, healthy life for all people. And whereas during the holidays, a season that includes a spike in travel and celebrations that may include alcohol, and throughout the year we must remain vigilant and aware of the drivers that are distracted or under the influence of alcohol. Now, therefore, on behalf of Phil Kramer, Mayor, we do hereby proclaim December 2018 as National Impaired Driving Prevention Month and urge all residents to make responsible decisions and take appropriate measures to prevent impaired driving. But this certainly is important this month, especially with the holidays coming up, and I hope everybody has a safe holiday and gets home safely.
My name is Alice Osipowicz, and I'm the Director of Parks and Recreation and the Chairperson for the Municipal Alliance for the Prevention of Substance Abuse. This month, we're promoting the Buzz Driving is Drunk Driving campaign. We will have some of our street corner signs out, and we just encourage everyone to enjoy the holidays, enjoy them responsibly. Everybody wants to enjoy the holidays in their own way, and we just encourage people that if you are celebrating, make sure that you and your friends are making sure that there are designated drivers and everyone remains safe on the roads. Thank you.
Stay down there. So I'm just trying to think of how to stage this. Next is a accommodation for Deputy Mayor Chanel Robinson. And I have a feeling that everyone on council is going to want to be involved in this. So Deputy Mayor, pardon?
I thought I was giving one.
You could give it to yourself, but that's usually not done. So if you could accompany me in the place of honor, and anyone who wishes to come down. Hello. Okay. Well, this is a commendation, whereas the Township of Franklin has benefited by citizens who contribute their time, talent, and skills for the betterment of our community, and whereas Chanel Robinson has served the community of Franklin Township, Somerset County, as Councilwoman at Large from August 11th, 2015 through December 31st of 2018, and as Deputy Mayor from January 1st, 2018 through December 31st, 2018, and whereas in connection to her tenure on the Township Council, Chanel Robinson served on various boards and committees which are merely a small indication of her dedication to this community and its residences, and her desires and efforts to keep Franklin Township a home in which all of us can be proud. Now, therefore, we, the Mayor and Township Council of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, on behalf of its residents, do hereby thank and commend Councilwoman, Deputy Mayor, Chanel Robinson for her devotion and dedication to our community and its residents. And it is signed, or soon will be signed, by all of the council people and myself. And we have a plaque here. In recognition and sincere appreciation of dedicated service to the Township of Franklin, presented to Chanel Robinson, Councilwoman at Large, August 11, 2015 to December 31st, 2018. Deputy Mayor, January 1st, 2018 to December 31st, 2018, by the Township Council, manager, staff, and the residents of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, New Jersey. So it seems as if we are expecting her to leave for some reason. I'm not sure why, but Chanel has served us well, and as we all know, there was a campaign this season, and I knocked on many a door with her, and what I was honest and proud to say was that she had been on council a relatively short time, but from day one, she was teaching me things about council and things of looking at ways differently than I'd had before, and she has served this town very well.
Honored and humbled to have served on this panel as a elected official, but I'm not going anywhere. So while my position may have changed or will be changing, I will continue to serve the Somerset, New Jersey area with dignity, with pride, because I still reside in this area. So I have a duty and responsibility to make sure that I do all that I can to continue to make Somerset a great place to live. Thank you all, and thank you all.
Thank you. Our newest councilman, would you like to add anything?
This is another example of the mayor putting everybody on the spot at the last minute. But Chanel, it's only been a year, but we've worked together previously, so congratulations and good luck, and I know you'll do well at your next level that you. Yeah, actually, that's true. You passed the torch down, and now, yep.
So, as I said before, Freeholder Robinson, what have you done for us today? Yeah, I guess I'll leave it down there. Any other council members who wish to comment and congratulate Freeholder-elect Robinson?
I say we yield and wait till later and let's get to take care of business at hand. That would be my preference.
Yeah, we'll do it during council comments.
So the next item on the agenda is council discussion item. Usually we have council discussion items later in the agenda, but this is about the deer management plan presentation from the Rutgers University graduate students, and they can filter up as I am talking. You can also grab the mic from the podium too, so more of you can have a mic. But we thought we would do it before public discussion because someone may want to hear the talk and then comment on what they've heard.
Okay.
And if we can get the lights. Yes, Councilman, it is cold in here. No, I've asked for the heat to be turned up, but I'm only mayor.
Good evening. Franklin Township has a problem, and it's not Franklin's fault. New Jersey land development and unprecedented population density, both human and deer, are working together to create an overwhelming set of circumstances that are causing major issues, including fatalities. So Franklin has a problem, a big deer problem. I said a big deer problem. And Franklin needs to reduce its herd. A number of experts spoke with us, including your very own Tara Kenyon, Bob Vornlocker, Bob Puskis, and Lynn Wolgast. Max Piana from Hutchison Memorial Forest and deer ecologist Jay Kelly also came in to talk with our class. And we read a lot of research looking into a variety of ways to address this problem, including deer contraception and other forms of sterilization. These aren't going to be effective in cutting down your deer herd the way that Franklin needs for it to be done now. Hunting is the best way to make this happen. But there are other options, design options, that will help make Franklin safer in addition to hunting. I'm Samantha Moss. Our landscape architecture graduate geodesign class started with geographic information systems using expert data, including data that Atanas and Chev shared with us that is specific to Franklin. We use this data in order to create detailed data sets in an accumulative way. We then created 4 broad, often overlapping categories to guide us through this complex issue. These are changing human behavior through policy, changing deer and human interaction, changing deer behavior, and changing human behavior through education. There are as many creative possibilities as there are ways of thinking about the issue. The resulting design interventions are just a few of these possibilities. Jackie will show you a wildlife overpass that provides an extreme approach for keeping deer off of high traffic roads. Jill is going to talk to you about deer fencing and other small-scale site interventions with a focus on intersections. And Sonia will propose an educational trail that winds its way through Franklin, highlighting points of interest along the way for learning opportunities. I know we're going to be presenting you with more information than you'll have time to digest, but we will be sending Tara Kenyon and Bob Vornlocker a detailed written report on tonight's presentation that you will be able to read. Managing the deer problem by hunting remains the course of action that would cause the most direct impact. When we first met Bob Warnlocker in September, he helped us to understand that hunting and hunting access is a complicated policy issue. There are many contingent factors that include municipal, county, and state cooperation, as well as interaction between the municipality and its property-owning citizens with potential hunting lands. That said, further exploration of negotiations between municipality and voluntary landowners may have more of an initial desired impact, while the municipality continues to work on long-term options with other government entities.
For a moment, let's set aside budgetary and other constraints and think about big solutions. When our class started in September, Tara Kenyon requested that we take a look at wildlife overpasses as a possible design implementation for Franklin. Wildlife overpasses may be expensive, but they are extreme measures to keep deer off the roads. Here's a high design conceptual example of an overpass for I-70 in Colorado. It is densely planted and creates connectivity between two forested areas. An example a little closer to home is this overpass in the Watchung Reservation. You may not have noticed it as you drive down I-78, or perhaps wondered what it was. This overpass uses fencing to funnel deer over the interstate, and at dusk, deer thunder across it. How does this apply to Franklin? In order to explore what could work for the township, our class looked at deer vehicle crash data over 4 years. This analytical map shows areas of high density of accidents, noted in pink and red. One of the largest hotspots we found was on Easton Avenue, where it intersects with DeMott Lane. Easton Avenue is a good candidate for a series of fencing and overpasses to safely funnel deer over the road. It intersects green corridors where deer travel between Piscataway, across the Raritan, and into Franklin. Looking closer at Easton Avenue, opportunities to connect green spaces arose, and a few locations for possible intervention stood out. The blue rectangle at the top of the page is a proposed initial test site for an overpass, with possible additional phases in pink if results are positive. To test this idea out, this image shows what a wildlife overpass could look like at Easton Avenue Phase 1 site by the Imperia. On your left is the DNR Canal, and on the right is the green corridor. An important part of the design is the additional series of fences to keep deer off the road and funnel them onto the overpass. This overpass would be planted up to connect the green corridors and help deer feel safe when crossing. Those of you who have traveled Easton Avenue know how narrow it can be. This more detailed design shows how space may be utilized to reduce the vertical height of the overpass. A wildlife overpass in Franklin could be possible.
One of the specific interventions we explored was large-scale fencing. Here, you can see that we've tried to fence all county-owned parcels. Our studio chose county land because we wanted to provide an example that would show a real impact. Colonial Park is a large piece of land which we know the township doesn't have control over, but communication with the county park system and state is vital because some of these large-scale parcels of land are owned by the county and state. In reality, we know that exclosure fencing, as demonstrated on this map, would be an expensive feat. Just as an example, the estimated grand total, which considered only materials and labor, is over $350,000. But if we focus in on a more defined area, say Colonial Park near Amwell Road and Elizabeth Avenue, and use fencing as a deflective measure rather than exclosure, we can compare the deer vehicle collision frequency map and see that there are a significant number of accidents here on Amwell Road and Elizabeth Avenue. This price would be a bit more reasonable. The area pictured in the previous slide would cost almost $32,000 to fence. Again, this is only factoring in material and labor costs. As I mentioned, if we are fencing as a deflection method, it's going to change the movement of the deer. But if we can anticipate likely movement, we can plan interventions and be more prepared. For example, if we deflect the deer from Colonial Park, maybe they would migrate towards the north to an intersection like New Brunswick Road and Elizabeth Avenue. The township could increase driver awareness through the use of signage and flashing lights, which could look something like this. In addition, there are a variety of small-scale site interventions that can take place all over Franklin in different iterations. These include deflective deer fencing at intersections, deer fencing with the addition of deer grading, which would be similar to a cattle guard, only larger, deer fencing in combination with lighting to increase driver visibility, and finally, deer fencing along with strategic planting. There are a lot of options that you could use across Franklin Township. Now, Sonia is going to talk to you about some of the possible education interventions throughout the township.
We've shown you ways to mitigate the problem with a wildlife overpass, with deer fencing, and by changing the roads. These all contribute, but if deer continue to be a problem that your township has for years to come, then people should understand why they are such a concern. The people in this room may know that deer in Franklin are an issue, but many of the other 66,000 people who live in Franklin probably do not. Guests of your township, even more so. Providing them with educational opportunities can arm them with the knowledge to be more aware and active in managing the deer. Let's imagine a very different approach, one that does not affect the size of the herd, but it does do something different. It can also be implemented quickly and through phasing. Our path to finding something educational for Franklin Township involved various geospatial analyses. We looked into where to find the best land for purchase of additional open space and preserved land. Criteria included amount of forest, wetland, open water, stream corridors, and proximity to developed land. Current preserved land was excluded from the analysis. An analysis of potential areas where public gun hunting could take place was contingent on a 450-foot required distance from buildings. The location of parks and hunting zones was considered. Bringing these various analyses together and other research led to this diagram of Franklin. Its intent is to more easily convey where land connects throughout the township. The darkest areas show the most suitable land for natural use. We propose an educational trail in the form of a greenway throughout Franklin, where people can stop along the trail at various points of interest to learn how deer influence their environment. It could also connect to the nearby DNR Canal and Greater Trail System. This line includes over 26 miles of trail, 17 miles from north to south, with
Excuse me, did we lose the mic?
Sounds like it.
Getting a
What's the
little
last
bit.
thing you heard?
Hello? This is good.
Thank you.
The points of interest along the path could include a deer vehicle collision awareness area, a children's park and trail connection, the Rutgers Ecology Education through the Hutchison Memorial Forest, Hunting Education and Heritage Center, Deer-Resistant Garden and Learning Center, and an overlook. The township can team up with Rutgers to allow a portion of the trail to pass through Hutchinson Memorial Forest, which is protected by an 8-foot tall fence. This allows for the area inside of the fence to have a greater understory growth that is not threatened by deer overbrowsing. There are deer inside of the fence currently, but they are of such a low number that they are more manageable and of a healthy ratio. Outside of the fence, an informational sign would welcome hikers and explain the ecological value of the area that they would be entering, while inside, visitors could follow a mulch path with various informational signs along the way. Elsewhere, a historical building could be used as a hunting education and heritage center that would provide a place for the public to better understand the fundamentals and beliefs behind hunting, as well as provide a place to train the next generation of hunters. Living with deer makes maintaining a garden challenging. This point of interest would display plants that are deer resistant in comparison to those that aren't. These lists contain plants that can be considered. More information can be found on the Rutgers website, where experts are available to help. What would a garden or forest look like if there were a more manageable amount of deer? As you can see on the left, where the fence is protecting the vegetation, it is larger and flourishing, while the space outside of the fence has been heavily affected by deer browsing. The selections of plants seen here on the right would appear more often if there were a more manageable number of deer. There are already many trails scattered throughout the township. This proposed path intersects and connects with these existing trails, like Griggstown and Bunker Hill Trail System, so the work has already been started. But currently, trails crossing over roadways are hazardous to hikers. It is difficult for cars to see where people are crossing. There's no warning of an approaching trail with enough time for drivers to stop and slow down, or for trail seekers to realize they are approaching their destination. Better trail marking with paint or signage staged sooner may help with this problem. This educational system can incorporate many different educational solutions or just a few. It allows for it to slowly be built upon and expanded. Points of interest along the path can be added as desired and when funding permits. Through a heightened education of deer, how they affect the environment and coexist with us can be easily made apparent. Low-cost solutions are possible that can reach people with a variety of interests. There are already diverse opportunities offered within your township due to the high quality of the land and the amenities that exist. Expanding upon them could only enrich the experience within Franklin.
Wildlife overpasses.
Need to speak
Deer
into the
fence.
mic, please.
Wildlife overpasses, deer fencing, an educational trail. It's a lot to take in. So you've seen several ideas to think about as you work on addressing Franklin's deer problem in ways that will complement hunting, and we hope you'll be inspired by these ideas. We know that wildlife overpasses can be wildly expensive. We know that deer fencing is expensive and also difficult to maintain. We know that going out and changing intersections, adding signage, and other small-scale site interventions can only be so effective. But Franklin Township has a big problem with deer, and it's worth thinking about that problem creatively, starting now. Again, this has been a lot of information, so a detailed report of what we've presented here tonight is forthcoming. We promise it won't take that many boxes of paper. A few other things we'd like to say while wrapping up. Through all of our time spent working on this project, we've learned a lot about deer, but we've also learned a lot about your town. When we first started learning about Franklin, we were impressed by its diversity, its history, and its green space. The fact that you can be driving in the city in one moment and the next be in beautiful farm country. I'm from North Texas farmland, and Franklin makes me feel like I'm at home. It's wonderful. We have eaten at the Stagehouse, had good meal and good conversation with some of you, been entertained at Villagers Theater, and had a blast at Franklin Day. And as we've worked with members of your community and with some of you, we've been really moved by how warm and welcoming you've been to us. We hope our class project helps Franklin in some small way. Thank you so much.
Does council have any questions?
Just one, Mayor.
Gordon?
One question.
Go ahead, Councilman.
So, do you have any data or any commentary at all on the use of professional hunters, which we've been discussing off and on for years in this town, as far as to lessen the herd, not in replace, but in conjunction with the other options?
We have looked into this some, but this is not really our area of expertise.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor, I don't have a question. I just wanted to say thank you so much. That was a very comprehensive, very extensive report that you provided to us. You've given us a lot to think about, and you did an excellent job. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Excellent info.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is public discussion. Do I have a motion to move for public discussion?
So move.
Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor of opening to public discussion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. We are open to public discussion. Anyone wishing to speak may come to the mic. You have 5 minutes, no yielding of time. You may only come once. You need to address the council. And then I'm going to repeat what I said last time. Emotions are running high. We need to show each other respect. So please respect the person who's speaking by allowing them to speak. After they speak, if you wish to applaud, that's fine. We have always allowed for that. But please show each other that courtesy. Thank you.
Good evening. Rosalind Sherman, 529 Rosecliff Court, Somerset. First and foremost, congratulations to freeholder-elect Chanel Robinson. I'm sure you'll be missed, but I'm sure you're going to do us proud in Somerville. We're looking forward to that. Congratulations. When I chose not to run again for my council seat, I reflected on my 8 years on the Franklin Township Council with pride and satisfaction. There's always some criticism, and that just comes with the territory. Some were deserved, most not. But today I cringe when I read about what's going on with the Franklin Township Council, and in particular the issues surrounding Councilman Prasad. Over the past 6 to 8 months, Councilman Prasad has tarnished the reputation of this council. Took many years to painstakingly build. He has disgraced himself and is dragging the council down with him in the downward spiral of the information that thankfully the Franklin Reporter and Advocate has revealed about him. I was still on council during the Catalpa Park hearing and admonished Councilman Prasad for the harsh characterization of the residents as racists for expressing their constitutional right to express opposition and disagreement. The list has grown considerably this year, from the ill-conceived and unapproved Peace and Nonviolence Park that he tried to push down the throat of the council and residents, again making harsh and mean-spirited comments such as his infamous Trump emboldened Republicans who do not want colored statues in this town. What an awful statement. To the alleged situation of his steering a landlord to a municipal judge to help with an eviction matter, to his involvement in trying to downgrade 2 parking tickets Who knows what else the Franklin Reporter and Advocate will find as they continue digging through his emails. It's just disgraceful. The public needs to understand that, unfortunately, the council has no power to remove Mr. Prasad from his seat. They can admonish him, but they cannot remove him. The council has to regain its integrity and standing with Franklin Township residents, which has been severely damaged as a result of Mr. Prasad's attempt to bypass the legal and normal processes of handling the situations already mentioned. Looking for advantages for some is a formula for disaster and the diminution of the rule of law. This is a country of law, which provides the glue to hold this diverse and dynamic country together. Mr. Prasad, you have harmed yourself, and you have harmed the reputation of this council. If you had the best interest of this township and of this council and of the residents of Franklin, you would resign immediately. I see nothing to indicate that that will actually happen. Assuming it does not, I will do what I can to strongly advocate that the Democratic Party withdraw its support of your candidacy in the upcoming elections. At the rate things are going, it may not take much effort on my part. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. Robert Peterson, 66 Wilson Road in Somerset. So I understand there's a resolution here on the agenda tonight. I won't read it. I won't steal all your thunder, Mayor. But let's be clear. I mean, you guys asked him, whatever, I'm assuming you asked him to stay away during the election period. Let's just keep it all on the down low, on the QT, nice and quiet. After the election, come on back. Again, you guys are carrying his water all day long. To the previous speaker that just stepped up, I understand that you're not allowed or not permitted by the bylaws or organizational rules to remove him. But I can pretty much be sure if all of you were unanimous in asking and calling for his resignation, would he be so shameless to then remain as part of this? Couple other points. Again, why just a censure? It's pointless. I mean, beyond the face of it, which again is appreciated, I understand that you guys are moving, you're responding at least in some small way to the people that are living in this town, that are coming to these meetings, and letting you know how disappointed we are in his history of actions. Not just one single event. And the man continues shamelessly asking for help to resolve parking tickets, and this influence peddling that he engages in. It's shameless. I don't know why you haven't called for his resignation and just a censure. And let's be clear. The censure has no repercussions. You guys all know that. It's not going to interfere with any jobs, committees, anything that he wants to participate in or sit on, right? I also know that there's a couple of you that will be coming up for re-election here, right? Mayor Kramer, a handful of others, maybe four others. Your names will be on the ballots later on this year. So I'd like to know. We all, or at least as part of political organizations, you endorse one another, right? Did any of you endorse each other in the last round of elections? Will any of you endorse him for this upcoming election? Boy, that would be telling, wouldn't it? If you fail to endorse him, but don't ask for his resignation? Come on, guys. Come on. Step up. Thank you.
Arnold Schmidt, 134 Hickory Road, Somerset, and I am a happily committed registered Democrat. First, I'd like to congratulate Chanel for your promotion to freeholder. That's awesome. Second, that said, for the past 2 years, most Democrats have been condemning President Trump for his obvious immoral and unethical transgressions. I believe it's now the appropriate time for our township councils to take the high road and stop protecting or ignoring what appears to be an ever-mounting array of unethical behavior by one of our own elected officials. And it's important that we stand up for the ideals we believe in, even if sometimes it means disagreement within our ranks. That said, I think it would be absolutely hypocritical to keep our heads buried in the sand by not acting appropriately when one of our own strays from the ethical standards necessary to act as an ethical elected official. Even after this individual was publicly reprimanded by Mayor Kramer, asked to resign by Councilman Shapes and township citizens, new information has now come to light about his most recent indiscretions. He continues to live in his own bubble with no apparent accountability, which provides even more impetus for the council to take actions. Although you, our council, don't have the authority to require a fellow council person to step down, I believe you do have the moral obligation in this case to ask him to do so, or at the very least, strongly reprimand him. If no resignation is forthcoming, I urge you to unanimously vote in favor of censure, the censure resolution on tonight's agenda. Further, I expect Councilman Prasad, once he is censured, to accept the censure by making a sincere statement of apology to the people of Franklin, and that he will enroll in an appropriate ethics training program to assure that he will never stray again. And if he does stray, that he will immediately resign his council position. The American people are well known for their belief in forgiveness and giving second chances. But to forgive, there must first be an acceptance of responsibility with a sincere apology. If Mr. Prasad doesn't accept his censure with an apology, it would be obvious he has no respect for our political system and the ethical standards he was sworn to uphold. In any case, you will have at least put him on notice that his continuing actions and behavior are totally unacceptable and not representative of how a Franklin Township elected official or any elected official should behave. For those of you who don't vote, and I hope you all do vote for the censure, but for those of you who don't vote to reprimand Mr. Prasad, you will be complicit in his dishonoring the good name of Franklin Township. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. Karen White, 106 Pear Tree Lane in Franklin Park. I'm not here tonight to berate you. Obviously, that's not working. So I thought I'd try a slightly different tactic and appeal to your self-interest. Because as long as you allow Councilman Prasad to misbehave like this, you are, and do nothing about it, you're condoning his behavior. Okay, and at this point, it's been going on for so long, at least 3 years, you are now all complicit in his behavior. Okay, and this little censure resolution, I mean, come on, censure, it's like the punchline of a very bad joke. You better believe the voters are going to remember this as you each come up for re-election. And if they don't remember this, your opponents will remind them. This should be especially important to Ms. Robinson here. You've obviously embarked on a political career, and I really don't understand how you think that you can be reelected or even elected to any office as long as you are standing shoulder to shoulder with a man who is a criminal, a bigot, and a liar. People don't vote for candidates with that kind of a stain on their record, and that goes for all of you. I'm not just singling out her. So what I will ask all of you tonight is to ask yourselves one question, and that is Councilman Prasad worth losing your seats on the council? Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Reverend Victor Facundo. I'm a citizen and a business owner in Franklin Township for over 35
Address,
years.
please.
I'm sorry?
Address, please.
46 Worcester Lane in Somerset.
Thank you.
I have a concern about a recent coincidence which is causing me to question my freedom of speech in this township. From my recollection, I think I've worked with so many mayors, Mayor Kimberly, Venezuela, and other mayors I've worked with through the church. But on August 14, I spoke before this council about my support of the Peace and Nonviolence Memorial. I understand that there are many opinions about this memorial, and the issue was very important enough for me to present my view to the council. This was the very first time that I have ever spoke to the council on this issue. I've been an owner of Marisa Life for 15 years and currently pastor of the Bethel United African Church on 46, which is laying on. In 2016, at the opening, the mayor of this township, Mayor Kramer, was the one that opened the ministry, the business, sorry. This church found its present location in 2016, which is located on a dead and end residential street, very little traffic. But on September 2nd, members of my congregation received parking tickets for parking their cars in the wrong direction on the street in front of the church. Parishioners have been parking this way since the inception of this building, and they have never been issued tickets. I also received a citation for the sign outside of Marie's Allied. I was told that this sign was not up to code, but I was not aware that this sign was not up to code. It has been there for almost 15 years. And I have never received a warning or notice about this sign, though I have taken the sign down to adhere to the township's request. I have had no issues in my 30 years or plus years in Franklin, but I feel the need to question my citations are all out of, and suddenly tickets are being issued to my parishioners for something that has been happening for years. I realize this may truly be a coincidence, and if it is, I accept that. But if it is not a reaction to comments, I made my points while exercising my freedom of speech. I'm concerned and wanted to again voice my opinion to council and to the Franklin Township Attorney. The recent article about my parking ticket never got any input from me. The subject of the article, I question its validity and objectivity. I'm proud to be part of Franklin and will continue to serve as an educator and pastor to the residents of Franklin. Thank you very much.
Anyone else wishing to speak?
Good evening. My name is Karen Troutman. I reside at 13 Orchid Court here in Somerset. I've known many of you, some of you, for a long time. I taught public school here for a number of years. I taught some of your children in my classroom, some of your children in the audience here also. I purchased a home here. I became a foster and adoptive mother here, and I currently raise all three of my sons here. I really love this town. You also know my husband, Rob Troutman. He's quite the wordsmith. But what you may not know is that I, Karen Troutman, a registered Democrat, willingly married Rob Troutman, a registered Republican. Some of my more liberal acquaintances questioned this choice because they were concerned I was entering into a politically mixed marriage. True story. And other than a few baiting conversations at the Troutman family gatherings, this has actually been a quite enlightening experience for both of us. It opens our eyes to all different kinds of views and perspectives. You see, what we base our marriage on is love. The romantic love in which we fall in and out of that we read about in fairy tales is cute but temporary. It's not the love of choice. To us, loving one another is not dependent upon our emotions, but it is a choice. It's a choice, and it is an action to serve, to respect, to honor, and to trust one another, as we stated in our vows, forever. It is not contingent on how big or small we believe a government should be, how much of our tax money should fund those who are disenfranchised, or where we stand on the legalization of marijuana. We don't play games in our home. It doesn't matter what political party a person aligns himself with, be it Democrat, Republican, or other, or what box is checked when asked gender, religious belief, or race. I have no interest in race cards or playing politics. What we concern ourselves with is service, respect, honor, and trust. Mr. Prasad, you have done a disservice to our community. You have shown no respect to the processes that have been laid out by our governing bodies. You are not an honorable man. You've lost my trust, the public's trust, and, as will be read later this evening, your colleagues' trust. What we have here is not a marriage, but a political seat. It's not eternal. Rather, we have a choice every election to let our voices be heard. Before you embarrass yourselves or this community any further, I urge every member of this municipality's council to not stop at tonight's censure, but to call for Mr. Prasad's full resignation. I hope everyone here in attendance signs the petition to recall Prasad. I would also be remiss if I didn't thank Mr. Vornlocker for not addressing and not engaging in Mr. Prasad's unethical request to fix certain people's parking tickets. You are not above the law. Thank you.
Honorable Mayor, honorable council members, ladies and gentlemen, I have been very much surprised to see.
Mr. Desai, name and address, please.
Again?
Name and address, please, sir.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Chandrakant Desai, and I am the resident of 1 Lindsay Court, Franklin Park, 08823, and I am the resident since last 23 years. I am very much surprised that I find the item number 15 about the resolution to censor Rajiv Prasad. Again, the SEPC, we don't have anything to do except this one thing. We forget our township, we forget so many problems and just concentrate only on one thing. I think I am very much surprised with the mentality of the Franklin Township as well as the council members and also the mayor. I am very much surprised about this kind of low mentality. Now, let me tell you, overall, I'll give you the perspective. I don't write all these things, but this time I have written. USA is a country of immigrants and of those from Africa who were brought to this country as slaves by the then ruling power and community. Their perspiration, hard work, and sacrifice has built up this country. My head bows down to them. Problems of minorities not enjoying equal rights without discrimination as per the US Constitution has been existing more or less in this country since long. Honorable President Lincoln, JFK, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and a few others gave a tough fight to protect the civil rights of the minorities. In Franklin Township, also we cannot boast or we cannot say that minority problems have been tackled with 100% justice and consideration in general. Such problems will be always there, and some leading persons in in responsible position or otherwise have to stand up to protect the minority rights. Honorable Councilman Rajiv Prasad is one of them. Minorities had the issues like Catalpa cricket ground, temples, church, and so many other issues, etc. But Mr. Prasad, as the caretaker of the minorities, worked hard for them and brought the results. In addition, not only the minorities, but as an elected councilman of the entire community, he has worked hard and shown considerable interest in all the people of this Franklin Township. This country of ours has built up an image of violence. Let me repeat that. This country of ours has built up an image of violence. Almost every week you have news of gun shooting in the schools, restaurants, public and private places. In spite of thousands of people's rally in Washington, D.C., President Trump, Congress, and Senate did not do anything for gun control, which is a kind of pro-violence attitude. Also, we have to teach and train the people about peace and non-violence to change the mindset of the people so as to establish safe and happy life for all. Mr. Prasad worked hard for Peace and Non-Violence Monument, a great step to improve the mindset of the people, but for petty matters was unfortunately rejected. He deserves our congratulations and support for working hard for the welfare of the community. It is unfortunate that Honorable Mayor and some council members are unable to see the bright side of Mr. Prasad and support the negatively biased elements of this Franklin Township. I request Honorable Mayor and Council to withdraw this proposition or resolution item number 15 against Mr. Rajiv Prasad, whose services are very useful and important for the Franklin Township community. Lastly, let me tell you one important fact that his grandfather was a man of public service and very close associate of Mahatma Gandhi, who stayed in their home as an honorable guest. Such high quality public service heritage he possesses, and Franklin Township is fortunate to have his services, and let us continue that one for time to come. Thank you very much.
Skip Schaefer, 2 Laird Terrace, Somerset, and a registered independent voter. Mr. Prasad, why are you still here this evening? That's right, I remember. At the last council meeting, you said words to the effect of, I will continue to perform the job that the voters elected me to do. I see. So, 3 years ago, the voters elected you to label Catawba Park residents as racist. Voters elected you to equate Catawba Park residents to Nazis and skinheads. 3 years ago, the voters elected you to get the chief of police involved to investigate residents who disagreed with your Catawba Park plans. And to get the chief of police to ask the FBI to investigate these people as well. This is what the voters elected you to do. 3 years ago, agenda manipulations regarding Catawba Park. Last-minute additions, putting things on the agenda that weren't planned at first, recruiting a room full of Edison residents to come and support your plans for Catawba Park. This is what the voters elected you to do.
Stop the clock.
You denied taking any of these actions over the course of several months and repeatedly lied about taking any of these actions. This is what the voters elected you to do. This year, the peace and nonviolence mess. More agenda manipulations, last-minute additions and changes, selected resident invitations to come and support your plan, saying Republicans don't want colored statues in town. This is what the voters elected you to do. Lying repeatedly again about all these actions and not apologizing once. Now, getting involved in landlord-tenant disputes unethically, trying to fix parking tickets unethically. This is what the voters elected you to do, is what you're telling us. Are you tired of hearing all this? As tired as I am of reciting it, and I'm not going to. As tired as this council is of hearing it? Believe it or not, sir, I don't hate you. I was taught not to hate the sinner, to hate the sin. You have sinned far too often. Far too often. And the pattern just goes on and on and on. This is what the voters elected you to do. That's what you're telling us by being here tonight. This is the last council meeting of the year. January 1, we're all going to come here. We're going to have a reorg meeting. Fresh year, fresh start, optimism. Let's move forward. All these positive feelings are going to be deflated if you're here on January 1. Your cloud is not going away unless you go away. It's going to continue over this council. I don't want to get hit with the fallout. That's why I carried this tonight. All right? I don't know what it's going to take to get the message through to you. Hopefully you've heard enough tonight to do the honorable thing. I'm not counting on it, but we'll see. Again, sir, I don't hate you. I don't hate the sinner. I hate the sin. You have sinned far too often. You're no longer effective. You need to go. Please go. Thank you.
Bill Connell, 25 Spring Street. Good evening, everybody. First off, Ms. Robinson, good luck. You know, I'm very interested in things that can happen on Easton Avenue, so I'll probably be annoying you there. Sorry about tonight. I'm sitting in the audience, and I actually have empathy that you even have to have this discussion at all. It's just sad, and you have to do what you have to do, and I'm sorry. The deer discussion. I've sat through, it seems like hundreds of hours, and the only thing I can say about it is show some imagination. Take anything the kids said, take anything, Councilman Bassanelli, you brought up the hunting, just pick one of them. Like, you sit there and you glaze over after a while because there's so many choices. Just in 2019, pick one and try something above and beyond what we do, and go from there. Don't try to look at it as one big thing. Just do one thing, move forward. And last but not least, Councilman Wright. Okay, I believe I have been a faithful committee person in my tenure. I have followed you. I followed your discussions. I've debated you on police. I've debated you on sidewalks. I've debated you on Middlebush Park. There are many, many things. And the discussion you're going to have tonight, this is just one more thing. It's just ugly and it's not pretty. Okay, I think what I want for Christmas is I want you to have Ron Jordan actually reply to me. Okay? And we can sit down and have a discussion like adults. All right? That's it. Thank you.
Johnny's Tips, 25 Parkside, Somerset, New Jersey. I'm proud of it, buddy. First, I'd like to commend John Clyde for his retirement. He's one of my best friends, and he mentioned a gentleman's name here last week. We see it by Mr. Jim Moise. I don't know if one of you guys even know who he was, but he was the leader of a focus group in Franklin Township years ago. I think Ted Chase, I think you know him. I was proud to hear that name because I was trying to think of that man for a long time. I want to mention one thing about this recall thing. The State Department of Corrections, of Elections, talked to him today, and I have to tell your friends, Mayor Kramer, that if they find any signature on a recall by the municipal government of any councilman that they have any proprieties of anyone's signature, they can be liable for federal charges. I just want you to understand that. That's what he told me this afternoon. Now, I ain't never heard so much hate in my life, man. It don't make no sense. I've never heard so much hate in my natural life. And Mayor, I am surprised that you allow a hate group, accommodate a hate group to set up a table and chairs in the municipal building with all these people in the Franklin Township. Isn't that against the law? Of some kind of law? That's not against the law. Well, and another thing for Mr. Renaud. As a private citizen, you have a censorship item on here, number 15. As a private citizen, can I denounce that resolution by pro call? Or what's that thing you call when a person can do it legally? Well, I was asking you a question, sir, because I would want that to happen. If a
You're allowed to comment on items that are on the agenda, yes.
On the agenda, yes, sir. I want it to be denied. As a private citizen, I want to pro quo deny that whole resolution to further date. Another thing that's very, very important. Kimberly Omajaka, call. You got 20 people out here. You got 20, maybe 25 of hate mongers. That's all you got. That's all you got. You worried about them talking nasty about Rajiv? Rajiv had everything that they talk about, that he lied about. It was for honor, but it was doing something for his people each time. He's doing something for each time. Every one of them, even the pocket ticket, he might have said the wrong thing to Balak. He just want to know what to do. He ain't trying to squash no tickets. And everything else. But that's something that I hope maybe you should do one day. What else was it? Catawba Park. He's trying to get some playing space for the cricketers. Was that wrong? You got these people here, the 20 people saying all these nasty things about an honorable gentleman or your own councilman. By the way, he's your comrade. Don't let these 20 people say nasty. Every one of y'all should get up and cuss every one of them out every time they said something bad about him. That's 20 people. 20 people, that's all you got. And y'all sit up there and got to worry about you going to change the laws and censorship and all kinds of stuff behind 20 hate mongers. They can't touch near one of y'all. Mayor can't, he's one man. He ain't got the vote y'all got. Near one of y'all.
Honorable Counsel, John Meyer, 43 Townsend Court, Franklin Park. First off, I'd like to say, the presentation put forth by the Rutgers Group, I was actually surprised to hear about the hunting part that they included, and surprised to hear that pushed. And it would be a good idea to try to really incorporate that, because the deer are overpopulated because they don't have any more predators. And it seems to be the only predators these days are our cars. So if that could be incorporated, that would be nice. And I guess a little side note, I like the thing with the nature trail they put up. I think that would be a much better use of any kind of donated funds, because at least the deer won't offend anybody. So, I come up here And I hear a lot of people talking about some kind of hate group. Well, what does that constitute? And how are we labeled a group of like hate? We keep talking about procedure, and we're met with some kind of accusations like that. Last I checked, that's not white. And there's been many of us in the group that have come up that don't fit that description, yet complain about the procedure. Always the procedure. We have no complaints otherwise. Some of these things, they sound like a good idea. Now, that first meeting we had, that young lady came up who's been all through our school system, said nothing about, she didn't even see this hate that's talked about. This park they want to put up in the middle of nowhere, how are some statues really going to educate? Are you going to have some kind of interactive display that'll tell more than what's in school already? Going to be a little plaque. How's that going to tell anybody anything more than they learned in school already? You know, I'm really upset to hear these kind of things thrown at us just because we don't like the procedure. Isn't that what government's based on, procedure? It's ridiculous. And have somebody come up here who is part of the Human Relations Committee saying things like that is ridiculous. Most hateful guy in here. I think that's outrageous. So, you know, this has got to stop. We'd all like to see it stop. And I don't know, that's about all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Harry Rosenthal, 4306 Avery Court, Chairman of the Human Relations Commission. I'm going to be short. I just have a question. If all this stuff which is going on in Washington that we see every day, would we have all these negative comments about Rajiv Prasad? All I want to say is I try very hard at the Human Relations Commission not to get involved in any kind of politics, and I've been pretty successful with that. But what I will say is, when I took over the Human Relations Commission at the request of Mr. Fasanella a while back, it was a non-functioning committee. I now have it, so it is a functioning committee. I have to say it is probably one of the top commissions in the township because we have excellent attendance and we deal with diversity and everything else. And a lot of our success is attributable to Councilman Prasad. He has been our liaison. Whenever I need something from the township, I contact him and he comes through. So I hear all this nonsense that's going on. I read a newspaper every morning, but I have to say that the Human Relations Commission today is where it is because of our liaison on the council. Thank you.
Sam Bellew, 14 Girard Avenue, Somerset, New Jersey, 08873.
Into the mic. Into the mic here.
Sam Bellew, 14 Girard Avenue, Somerset, New Jersey, 08873. I'm really disappointed with the censure that is on the agenda. That is just giving somebody a pass and you getting away by saying we did what we could. I'm not sure what we are teaching our kids. You do right 5 times, you have the license to do wrong the 6th, 7th, and 8th times. There is a violation of Sunshine Act, influence peddling of the parking tickets, getting the Franklin Township judge involved in a tenant hearing, and that tenant, the neighbor, happens to be my neighbor. There were 17 or 18 cars parked, and she converted, the design is the same design as my house. She converted that house as 10 bedrooms, blocked it off, put the things, every room was rented out at $1,000. I'm sure the township did not get the tax money. I'm sure some other money went somewhere else to get the township judge to get involved in a township dispute that a township has asked the owner of that house to pay fines. They were fined 3 times. There are a lot of temples in this town which are not supposed to be temples, running as temples. If you take out a lot of stuff which are going to be done by Rajiv Prasad, I'm sure there will be a lot of things coming out. So you guys are going to just censure and say, we have done a job, we slapped it, it's a bandage, that's all we can do? It would be like the water off the duck's back. Censure would help somebody who respects the law, who honors his word, trusts and does right by all the people. Censure would not help somebody who's sitting there and laughing at all of us. He's telling you, you guys cannot do jack about what. I will do what I want to do, and I will do it the way I want to do, because I think I have all the votes that somebody was telling here. You're worried about 20 people. So you can do wrong. Do whatever you want to do. I'm not sure whether we have closed the loop with the Martin Luther King Foundation. The statues have arrived in Flemington at the residence. Each container is 2,400 kilos. So I'm not sure what type of statues those are. I'm not sure if we have sent a letter to the Martin Luther King Foundation. The 2 containers have arrived on November 14, 2018 in Flemington. So I'm not sure about what we are called hate group. I'm a registered Democrat. I'm going to switch my party because I don't think the Democratic Party is doing the right thing. Right? It's not about Democrat. It's not about white, African American, not about Indian. It is following the process, making sure you're doing right by everybody. If I would have known, I would have probably gone and paid somebody $1,000 and told him to take care of the tenants. Maybe that's what she did. She conducted a Hillsborough fundraiser for Mr. Rajiv Prasad. So I'm not sure where this is going. And if this is what the Township Council is going to decide to do stuff, I do not know what message you're giving to your residents. I don't have anything else to do. I'm speechless because this is really, I'm not sure if you even, what does the censorship do? I really don't understand what the censorship does. Will he not be on any committees? Will he not be on any of the other things in the township? Will he not be able to participate in any of the meetings? I don't know what the censorship does. It is just saying, okay, you did wrong. We all acknowledge you did wrong.
Time is up.
Let's move on. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak?
Mayor, seeing no one else come forward, a motion to close the public portion of the meeting.
Second it.
Moved and seconded. All in favor of closing public discussion, say aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. We are now on to council committee reports and comments. Mr. Gualtieri, Councilman Gualtieri.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I want to start with the, I guess, the deer report. I'm not going to say too much about it because I'd like to read it more. But that is impressive that it's nice to see our education institutions being able to put together some ideas. It's certainly a way that brings outside the box thinking. I'm sure, though, the manager and I were just talking, I'm sure that if I pushed for overpasses for deer instead of for vehicles over the river, all of you would be coming after me pretty quickly as well. So we will look at some of the solutions, and I want to read more on it before that. But again, excellent job done for that. As far as committees, the only thing that I had, or only meeting that I had, was last week. We had sewage authority. Brookline is progressing phenomenally. It's nice to see a project moving well, and I hope I didn't just jinx it. But we did just move the pump station into place, so this project is moving well. Just a note, the office will be closed in the afternoon of December 20th. So if you're trying to pay any bills that you have outstanding, just be aware that it'll be closed in the afternoon. If there is an emergency, though, you can call the office. Somebody will be answering. It's just there will be a staff meeting that afternoon. We will be focusing on the Marcy Street area next year. There's going to be a significant project happening over there, so just be aware that area is, with my directions, to the west of.
That'll be the northwest part of the town.
Thank you. Northwest of 287. So that's an area. Given that this is the last meeting, I do want to, of the year, I do want to make some comments that. First off, the tree lighting ceremony last week, big thank you to Alice and her staff and all the members of DPW that helped make sure that everything was ready to go, and also Parks and Recreation, of course. But a big thank you to the entire staff as a whole. There's a lot of work that's done by the township employees, and a lot that goes on, and they do a lot with the resources that they're given. So I want to say thank you to them. Thank you for continuing to work for us and trying to help the residents as best as we can. I know that there's a lot of projects ongoing, but do appreciate their work. I am hoping, I'm probably one of the few people, I'm hoping for not a white Christmas so that our DPW employees can enjoy the Christmas at home. But Mr. Vornlocker, if it does snow, please call me. I will come out and ride around. I will go out for a ride on Christmas. So, but I am sincerely hoping, I mean that sincerely, that I hope that a thank you to the employees this year. And it has been wonderful working with everybody over the past year. It's nice to meet everybody that I have so far, and I apologize to those township employees that I have not. My year did not go as planned with work schedules and everything, but I'm hoping to meet the rest of the employees soon. Yep, with that, I would like to say I'm going to go down the holidays, and I was challenged to this one, so please bear with me. I am going to say a happy Festivus, a Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Holidays for any celebration that I may have missed, and a happy and safe New Year to everybody. We will see everybody in the New Year. With that, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You missed Turner. Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Onijaka.
Mayor, very unfortunate I came in a little bit late today. Just because of the traffic, and I was coming from Morristown. So and this week has been very, very rough for the African community because we lost one of our great personality. He was here a couple of months ago. And he was the champion of the Sister Series, but unfortunately he had a heart attack. So that took all my time. But whatever may be the case, since this is the last meeting of the year, our council for the year, I want to use this privilege to express my sincere greetings and happy holidays to everyone. Happy Kwanzaa and happy Hanukkah. That's what I have to say, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Kimberly Francois.
Just want to say thank you, Deputy Mayor Robinson, for your outstanding service to Franklin Township, for all your dedication and commitment to us. And I feel very, very confident that you will serve the county as well as you have served Franklin as a councilwoman. And I also know that you will be very devoted and have special interests for your home base, Franklin Township. So congratulations. We're very proud of you. It's been an honor to serve with you. And also, I just want to say happy holidays and happy New Year. I hope everybody has a safe and happy and healthy, prosperous New Year. God bless everyone. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. The Honorable Councilman Jim Vasanelli.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple things. Same thing she said. Chanel, thanks for the work you've done the last 3 years. And we will be in touch with you quite a bit, as you and all the freeholders, I'm sure, will be conscious of the needs of Franklin here. Perhaps you can help us with the deer situation and others. But again, thank you for your service. You've come a long way in 3 years, and expect that you're going to go much, much further the upcoming years. Had the New Jersey Housing Resource Center, which on the board of that, that's a housing organization which helps a lot of people from Franklin and beyond. They had their yearly meeting, and the organization is very solid and continuing to do just absolutely wonderful work for people in processing their affordable housing purchases or financial literacy seminars. I know there was one at First Baptist Church, I think first-time home buyers. They go all over the county, but multiple counties, but especially a lot of programs here in Franklin because of our population and the good stock of affordable housing we do have here in town, some of which they help to manage. The deer, and I see they all left. Thank you, thank them for coming. Learned a little bit, some things I did not know about, like those overpasses. I do think, not because I want to, but I just think that we are going to have to put a good chunk of money, or a noticeable chunk of money, in the budget for 2019 that I guess Financial Oversight Committee is just starting to work on. For whatever approach or approaches we take, I do see, without getting in a lot of detail now, where the use of professional hunters may be a good choice going forward. And some strategically placed fencing. So without getting into the details of that now, I'm open to any other ideas too, but I would think that those would need to be considered in the budget, since both of those items would come with a price tag that would need to be covered under a budget item. So when you're out driving, be conscious of the deer, most important, and be safe. That's most important. But other than that, have a joyous holiday. Got a few weeks here. The holidays haven't begun, but this is our last meeting of the year. So whatever your year has brought, good and bad, just try to enjoy the time, and hopefully time around people you love and care about in the coming weeks. And we will see you back here in January. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Wright. Councilman Wright.
I didn't expect to come up so soon. I only have two comments. One, we had a meeting of our redevelopment agency this past month, and a subcommittee was formed with Bob Medler, myself, and Nina Jordan. And we were tasked with inspecting or reviewing new projects that were going to come online or wanted to come online within a couple of years. We're going to report back to our meeting, to our agency, about some of the new projects that want to come, and we'll go from there. Second, some of people has commented on, why am I wearing this shirt that says St. Kitts on it. Well, my mother's first generation American. We all come from the island of St. Kitts. And her birthday was on the 7th. So this morning, I went to pick up my grandson, and without any coordination, he had on his little shirt that said St. Kitts. And I asked my daughter, how did this work? And she says, no, we just put it on and that was it. But that type of love, I got my St. Kitts shirt on. So even though we're going to St. Kitts sometime in the fall, in the summer, we take back a sizable group. I'm a member of the Sons and Daughters of St. Christopher Charitable and Benevolent Association of New Jersey. Real long title. And sometimes that type of love can make you understand some of the things that we could go through in life and in a group setting. Sometimes we need to look deeper into what the problem is, and sometimes find a way to gain a new perspective on issues. So that was just my thought, my little throw in, my little comment about my shirt from the island of St. Kitts. I wish everyone a holiday, whatever you believe in, whatever you want. It's a holiday. Enjoy yourself. Be careful, as my friend at the other end said, don't hit the deer, never mind the deer hitting you. You don't hit the deer. We don't want roadkill. That bothers our township manager down there because he has to send the police and public works out to pick up that type of situation. Be prepared for the snow. Make sure your gutters are clean. Put your rain barrels up, and that would make Dr. Chase happy because you can catch the water and, reuse it. So that'll make Dr. Chase happy. Plow your driveways and your sidewalks, and talk about our beautiful new sidewalks we put down just in time for winter. And some people do want them, but you can't have them. I've gotten a lot of emails about sidewalks, and I wanted to say you could probably put the sidewalks up cheaper than we can. So if you get all your neighbors together and you want sidewalks, negotiate. You probably get a better rate together instead of individually going down and asking a contractor to put down sidewalks. Again, it's a safety issue. We would like to have more sidewalks so our kids can walk to school safely, and for our adults to jog on instead of jogging on the street, maybe they can jog on the sidewalk. We can't put a bike lane everywhere, but our new freeholder might be able to get us some bike lanes somewhere around town. She's looking at me, smiling, and I love it. But that's just about it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Wright. Councilman Chase.
We did have a land use committee meeting right after the last council meeting. It was mostly taken up with discussion of properties that we might acquire, which is something we can't talk about in public. So, even the council only discusses it in executive session. But I keep thinking there was something else we talked about. I think something our Director of Planning, Mark Healy, brought forward, but I can't remember what it was.
Update of the
Oh, yeah, that actually is quite substantial. It's, he's been working over all of our procedures and forms for applying for subdivision approval, applying for a site plan, applying for a zoning variance and simplifying and updating all of the paperwork involved. And he showed us the present paperwork would be like this, and the new paperwork will be like this, a good deal smaller. So that will be coming to council as new ordinances early in the new year. Something I've been working on sporadically is called a complete streets ordinance, which is something that directs us to, as much as possible, institute sidewalks and bike lanes so that those people who travel by means other than automobiles can do so safely. And again, I should be bringing that to the council in the new year, but sometimes I think that the people who at Sustainable Jersey who want us to put sidewalks everywhere don't know the price of sidewalks. And Somerset County has had a complete streets ordinance for a number of years, and I don't see South Middlebush Road getting any more complete. It's a very hazardous place to bicycle, and yet it's, other than Route 27, it's about the only north-south artery in the township. So these are things we'd like to work on. And as for what a lot of people came here to sound off about, it appears that we are damned if we do and damned if we don't. As Councilman Sherman pointed out, we cannot make Councilman Prasad resign. If the most we can do is censure him, that's what will be before us later tonight. But, those of you who attack us for how little that is, what exactly would you have us do? And those who attack us for even proposing such a resolution should focus on the things that Councilman Prasad has done. I mean, none of them is very large, but they set a pattern of very bad judgment. So I'll leave that at that, but I've responded to you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Chase. Councilman Prasad.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Firstly, about the sidewalks. It's been a long time coming, and I live in that neighborhood, and I drive Girard and Belmar all the time, and thank God the kids are safe on the sidewalk now. Otherwise, you spent a lot of time trying to avoid them, especially the middle school kids and the Hillcrest kids. Thank you for a great deer report. There's a lot of thought there for us to consider and get creative with. We started looking worldwide also at other countries and see how they sort those problems out. And so there's a lot of out-of-the-box thinking still that needs to be done on that. Thank you to Alice for the tree lighting and a great job. The whole community turned out, and it's a great way for our town to be together. Dr. Chase, Councilman Wright, and Vasanella and I serve on the Land Use Committee, and that's been reported on. The Human Relations Commission had a presentation from the Vice Principal on mentorship and the program of mentees and mentors to help kids get along better and make greater progress in the school system. So it's a great program, and hopefully our upcoming Youth Community Center will also help in the after hours for the kids. There was no administration committee meeting. The compressor task force met, and we have to keep on. It's a marathon, as Ed Potasnik said, and we have to keep on filing objections with the DEP in New Jersey as well as with FERC. So it's a long haul battle there. Congratulations to Freeholder-elect Chanel Robinson. I say ditto to whatever Councilwoman Francois said. And happy holidays, and please stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Prasad. Deputy Mayor Chanel Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I thought my voice was going to make an appearance tonight, but due to the cold air, it has exited stage left. However, I will be brief in my comments. Thank you to the young ladies who made their presentation. We do have a lot to think about, great ideas, and this is what, when other people have thoughts and ideas coming together to government and allowing us the opportunity to take those thoughts and ideas and move forward. Thank you for everyone for your well wishes. Again, like I said before, I will not be going away. Whatever capacity and role that I can play and continue to be a part of Somerset and Franklin Township, I will do so. I do not need a title to serve. That is not my destiny and my destination in life. It's just to serve, and service is not just a noun, but it's an action. And so I live my day to serve others and not to be self-servant or to be selfless. More so is to be kind and show love and kindness to others. To Mr. Schaefer's point, you said it best, hate the sin and not the sinner. But I'm a firm believer also what goes on in the dark will come to light, and light is shining brightly. To your point, Mr. Peterson, even us asking for resignation, that does not make it so. It is ultimately his choice. To Mr. Tibbs, I do not consider the recall Prasad a hate group. They have every right, and they're not unethical, illegal, and immoral in doing so. We all have opinions. We all have different lens views, but we must respect one another where we're coming from. We may not always agree. But I just want to encourage everyone, even in this Advent season, I don't have much, but I'm willing to give all that I have. And I posted recently on Facebook that during this Advent season and through the whole month of December, I will be and will continue, and I have done since the beginning of December, is to provide a meal to a random act of kindness to someone I do not know. And I will continue to do in that vein because love is the only way. My committees that I will be, my final meetings will be this week, will be tomorrow, Housing Authority, but I will continue to serve as Housing Authority Commissioner. There is no conflict of interest. There's no ethical reason why I cannot serve as a Housing Authority Commissioner and still be a freeholder. So I've had that cleared. In addition to fire prevention, I will be at that meeting on Thursday, and so I will leave my report so that someone can give that report in the meeting in the new year. Happy holidays to everyone. Thank you for your support, and I want to be able to continue to work with and for you in whatever capacity that I can. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you all, and God bless.
Thank you. For my comments, happy holidays, and I will have more comments at item number 15. Township Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be brief. Unfortunately, I'm fighting a cold up here. If you hear the honking down at my end, I think that perhaps Deputy Mayor Robinson spread it down this direction. Just a couple things to report. One, a holiday blood drive will be conducted here in the municipal, right here in this building, right in this room actually, on December 21st from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's advertised on the Township website. You do have the ability to make a reservation, an appointment, I should say, reservation like it's a restaurant, an appointment if you so choose, or you can just come and walk in and donate blood. In return, you'll receive a $5 gift card to Dunkin' Donuts, run by the New Jersey Blood Services. Again, December 21st, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. here in this room. Also, the Township is continuing with the Holiday Giving Tree presented by the Parks and Recreation Department. A holiday angel, be a holiday angel and help bring cheer to Franklin families in need and U.S. servicemen and women at home and abroad. Stop by the Community Senior Center during office hours, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., and pick up a tag from our giving tree in the lobby. Please return the unwrapped gift during office hours. Donations are being accepted until Wednesday, December 19th. And then the last is actually a project that I will give credit to the mayor. I believe he's the one that first thought of, well, the discussion was with the mayor. It actually is an old project, but the mayor resurrected it. And that's the township is now online with an AM alert radio station. There's a broadcast transmitter here in the municipal complex and another down in the southern end of town at the Griggstown Firehouse to provide AM broadcasting coverage for the entire township. And I'll just read a quick thing here. Franklin Township Information Radio Station is where you can listen to hear important notices about emergencies and steps you can take to minimize their impact on you and your family. The township has created this service to ensure communication to its citizens when power and other communication services such as mobile phones and the internet go down. Set a button on your car radio to AM 1630, 1630, 1630, so you can find the frequency fast. The broadcast can be picked up most efficiently by car radios, and certain in-home radios may be able to receive it as well. If you're interested in learning about it, you can actually go to our township website, and there's a link so that you can actually listen to what's currently being broadcast during times of non-emergencies. It broadcasts basic information about the township, and there's an intro from the mayor. And then during emergencies, specifically when power outages are widespread, and certainly cell phones and computers and all of those things tend to die out relatively soon after the emergency begins. And sometimes we have extended, and during Hurricane Sandy, we had weeks of some people having no power. And this is an opportunity where you can go into your car and listen to a radio and get a quick update on maybe the availability of drinking water or other things. So certainly a worthwhile endeavor on the part of our emergency Office of Emergency Management, the IT department, and the mayor spurring it on. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. I would like to acknowledge the presence of our police force here. Thank you guys for being here. You are very large. And also our BOE president, thank you for attending the meeting, Nancy LaCourte.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I would ask that if we could, I would make a motion to amend the agenda to move item 15A to next on the agenda if possible.
We have a motion to amend the agenda to change the order of the agenda to move item 15 next. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded. Any discussion on moving it? Hearing none. Is that a roll call? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. We are now on to item number 15. We will come back to, let me just mark it here, item number 10 on the agenda afterwards. So item number 15, resolution to be voted on separately. The following resolution is presented to the Township Council for adoption. Resolution 18479, a resolution to censor Councilman Rajiv Prasad, Councilman at Large. This is an add-on resolution. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I would ask that, I guess I have to make a motion to amend the resolution that's presented. As strongly as I disagree with Mr. Prasad's actions, there's one section in there which I would ask that we remove. That'd be section 4. I feel that the wording is strong enough for the other sections to cover the discontent and basically the discontent and to emphasize the feelings of council, but still out of respect, I would ask that we remove that line.
So you are asking to remove, whereas the mayor and council find these actions dishonor the important position in which he has been entrusted.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
And I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, I need to.
So I'm opposed to removing that. I think this is what we can do in order to tell the township that we are disappointed with Mr. Prasad, and I do not think we should weaken what we are saying. I think it is important that this be worded as strongly as possible. So I will be voting against the amendment.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I disagree with that because did you add that line personally?
Mr. Wright, this was presented to me by by the chairman of the Democratic Party.
So the chairman of the Democratic Party of Somerset County, the state of New Jersey, or municipal?
Municipal.
Who?
Municipal.
So your municipal chairman told you to add that?
The municipal chairman presented this.
So he said, add that to this resolution. I want to very specifically, I'm
And I
asking you that
very
question.
specifically have answered you.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
So do we need to call the vote on the motion?
Excuse me. Any other discussion? No other discussion. So we are going to call a vote on the amending of this, amending of the resolution. A yes means we are taking out the, whereas the mayor and council find these actions dishonor the important position in which he has been entrusted. A no means to keep it in. Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase?
No.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
No.
Councilman Onijaka?
Leave it as it is. No.
Councilman Prasad?
Leave it, don't take it out.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Robinson?
No.
Councilman Vasanella?
No.
Councilman Wright?
Voting yes takes it out? No. No. Voting yes takes it out of the resolution.
Yes.
Voting
That's
yes.
correct. Voting yes takes it out of the resolution.
Yes.
What is the count?
Five noes, 4 yeses.
So it stays in. Thank you. Any other discussion? I have some discussion. Mr. Prasad, I recognize you have done good in this community. You have been helpful in the fight against the compressor station and have made council more aware of our diversity. But citing the days you did good things is not a defense for the days you did bad. Mr. Prasad, I can't express how sad and angry your actions have made me. In the past 3 years, your actions have included, but have not been limited to, calling the FBI to intimidate people because of posts others have put on their Facebook page, instructing a defendant to visit a judge in his private office in order to influence the outcome of a case, attempted to alter the outcome of parking tickets, attempted to circumvent established protocol in order to avoid public scrutiny on a project by repeatedly calling for votes while omitting them from the agenda. But what bewilders me in a town that prides itself in diversity is how you have committed actions which threaten the harmony of that diversity. You did so when you communicated to our community that Republicans were trying to suppress ethnic votes in Franklin in the 2015 election. And you continued to sow the seeds of disharmony by writing the MLK estate with unproven claims of racism. While I ask for no pity from anyone, I am exhausted and in mental anguish for having to sit here meeting after meeting and listen to the acrimony of residents. Mind you, it is not them I blame. They are righteous in their anger. The question is, how long will you continue to commit these violations of the public trust and force all of the council to endure this treatment meeting after meeting? It is selfish of you to allow fellow council members to endure this. It is selfish to allow the citizens of Franklin to endure this. Council has limited tools to hold our fellow elected officials accountable. We are not able to force Mr. Prasad to do anything. This censure before us, however, is action, in fact, an official action from the governing body. No one here has been to more council meetings in Franklin in the last 15 years than I, and that includes during a recall. And I have never seen council engage in this activity. This is a strong measure, and I implore all of council members to vote yes. Is there any other discussion on this item? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Present.
Deputy Mayor Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
It passes. Okay. So we're back to item number 10, approval of the minutes.
You didn't, Ms. Anne Marie, could you give us the total there? I know it's immaterial, but go ahead. How many voted yes and?
There was 8 yeses.
8 yeses and 1 present. We are now back to item number 10, approval of the minutes. I present the following minutes for approval by the Township Council. Township Council, work session, regular meeting, and executive session, November 27th, 2018 at 7 p.m. Do I have a motion on the minutes?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on the minutes, corrections? If none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Robinson?
Yes on A, abstain on B.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Item number 11, approval of the warrants. Warrants in the amount of $11,864,686.86 on December 11, 2018 are presented to the Township Council for payment. Do I have a motion on the warrants?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion, any question on any item? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Councilman? Vote on the warrants, yes or no?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Okay. Item number 12, public hearings and adoptions on ordinances on second reading. These are ordinances that we have already introduced, and now they will be presented for council for either final adoption or for denial. Ordinance 4258-18, ordinance amending the code of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, more particularly, Chapter 81, Affordable Housing, with the addition of Section 81-6, Administrative Approval of Mortgage Discharges, Discharge of Affordable Housing Agreements, and Mortgage Substitutions. Is presented.
Subordinations.
Subordinations, thank you. Is presented for the public hearing and final adoption. The public hearing has been noticed as required. Do I have a motion for public hearing?
Motion, so moved.
Moved and seconded. All in favor of opening for public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. We are open for public hearing on this item only.
Mayor, seeing no one from the public come forward, a motion to close the public portion.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor of closing for public discussion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Do we have a motion on the item?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. So for discussion, what this does is we often have to discharge mortgages for affordable housing. It always comes to council. Council votes. Essentially, it's a no-brainer vote. This would make this an administrative item, so it would not have to come to council, and it would streamline these items. Any other discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Item 4259-18, Councilman Vasanella, how would you like to handle this one?
I will gladly read this, Mayor. I have the long version, so you just tell me how much I'm supposed to read.
Just the title.
Okay, ordinance number 4259-18, amending the code of the Township of Franklin, Chapter 271, peddling and soliciting, and providing a new section, 271-17, collection, preparation, and maintenance of a non-solicitation list.
Is presented for the public hearing and final adoption. The public hearing has been noticed as required. Do we have a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor of opening to the public, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. We are open to the public on this item only.
Mayor, seeing no one from the public come forward, a motion to close the public portion of the hearing on this ordinance.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Seeing no discussion, all in favor of closing to the public, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. We are closed to the public. Do we have a motion on the item?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on the item? The purpose of this, it's kind of like the no-call list, but for people knocking on your door.
No knock list.
No, I said it's kind of like the no-call list, but it's about people knocking on the door. Counselor, thank you very much for your input and adding to confusion. Councilman Vasanella, have you any comments?
No, that's exactly what it is. It's sometimes referred to as a do not knock ordinance. And again, this is optional. You have to, when it's all set up, and I'm sure it'll be noticed in the website, and we'll announce at the meetings, you do actually have to sign up when the list is created, and then you, by law, are not supposed to be solicited by a commercial vendor. There still may be a nonprofit or organization that's exempt
Or a politician.
Any other discussions?
And specifically, it doesn't apply to political candidates come to express themselves to you.
Or religious.
Religious. So anyway, though, but it does,
Sorry.
anyway, so I'm glad this is moving forward, and that's all I have to say. Thank
It
you.
affords some privacy. Any other discussion?
Safety, too, perhaps.
Madam Master Clerk.
Councilman Chase? We're voting on the ordinance, yes.
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Councilman Wright distracted.
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka? Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Item C, an ordinance amending the code of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, more particularly Chapter 226, Vehicles and Traffic, Section 226-19, Through Streets, and Section 226-20, Stop Intersections, is presented for the public hearing and final adoption. The public hearing has been noticed as required. Do I have a motion to open to the public?
Motion.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor of opening to the public, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. We are open to the dwindling public.
Mayor, seeing no one coming forward from the public, a motion to close the public portion of the hearing on this
Seconded.
ordinance.
All in favor of closing, motion and second, all in favor of closing to the public, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion is carried. Do I have a motion on the item?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. So this is an item putting some four-way stop signs along Pierce.
Pierce Street and Cottontail, Pierce Street and Belmont.
Pierce and Pierce.
And this is, Mr. Mayor, I'd like
Yes,
to point
sir.
out that this, I think I pointed this out at the last meeting, but this is good because, well, even just this past week driving down Cottontail on the weekend, people go flying. The car in front of me, I never saw him again. So that'll definitely slow down people driving through that area. And also with in relation to how close it is to the high school, both those intersections, it'll hopefully give our younger drivers a chance to navigate through that area a little easier, and a chance to feel a little more confident in that area. But
And now that you've said that, I know from Mr. Vornlocker that we do not use stop signs for traffic calming, so.
So we don't use them to control speed. That's
Right.
correct. However, in this particular case, given all of the angle accidents that have occurred at those two intersections and the sight line obstruction at one of those intersections, the use of a multi-way stop sign has been approved by the engineer as a correct application.
Right, so I appreciate your point, and it will add to safety by slowing down speed, but I just wanted to make it clear, since that's against the, what is it, UTC or whatever,
The MUTCD, correct?
that we are not doing that specifically for that
Right.
purpose.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. Anyone else?
Yeah, as I pointed out last time, Mr. Mayor, I nearly lost my son at that intersection. And he totaled the car
Wow.
because somebody came flying down Cottontail, even though he waited. And then I looked at the whole history, and there was a whole lot of accidents, and tried to go to court over it, saying the guy's not responsible for what's happening. But, you know, it's something that I advocated for back then, and it's a long time coming. It'll make the place a lot safer. Thank you.
Thank you. Interestingly, I almost died at the intersection of Davidson and Pierce right before they turned on the stoplight. And I spent a night in the hospital due to an accident there. But any other comments? Seeing and hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri.
yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka. Councilman Prasad.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Robinson.
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella.
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
And now into the home stretch, the consent agenda, item number 14. Items A through V, as listed on the consent agenda portion of this meeting, are presented to Township Council for adoption. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Anyone wish to pull an item, discuss an item?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Seeing that we have a very light consent agenda, and there's nothing on there particularly interesting that our residents have not heard before, and then too, the township manager not feeling up to snuff tonight, we'll just move on through it. No, Mr. Mayor, ask the manager tonight.
Yes, that was a great long no comment.
Thank you,
I appreciate that.
Councilman Wright. Thank you very much. I'm really hoping that I'm not sick for the holidays.
Yes,
Sitting next to the gentleman.
him not asking a question took longer than asking a question. Okay. Anyone else want to take an item off or discuss an item? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase.
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois.
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri.
Yes.
Mayor Kramer.
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka. Councilman Prasad.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Robinson.
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella.
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor, would you like the honor of closing the meeting?
Oh, wait a minute.
Apparently not.
Back that up. I have 4 appointments I'd like to make right quick.
Oh,
No,
very
no,
good.
no, those are for next year.
Those for next year?
Yes.
Okay. So I got to hold up until next year. All right. I was going to throw them in there right quick.
Wait, actually.
Do we have a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
There's
Seconded.
It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Be well, Franklin.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn is approved.
Yeah.